Daily Patrol, the giant panda mother relies on me at the beginning. Chapter 1. Sichuan Mountains Forest Ranger. Hot summer. Sichuan, deep in the 10,000 mountains. Lin Tian, carrying a luggage bag, walked on the rugged mountain road. He was holding a mobile phone selfie stick in his hand, on which he had just opened the live broadcast room. Brothers, this is the Sichuan Nature Reserve. The scenery is nice, isn't it? From today on, I am a glorious forest ranger in this area. In the future, I will often broadcast my daily forest protection to everyone. Lin Tian said as he continued to walk into the mountains. The scenery in Sichuan is very good. The mountains and forests are green. The lush branches and leaves are like a green barrier. It blocks the noise and impetuousness of the outside world. It makes people feel peaceful. After taking a deep breath of the clean air of nature, Lin Tian was in a good mood. This is one of the reasons why he chose to be a forest ranger. Of course. There is another more important reason. Lin Tian got a magical stone one day. This stone is smaller than a fist. The surface is irregular. It is dark grey. If you don't look carefully, it looks like a stone picked up from the roadside. But this stone is not an ordinary stone. He dug it up in the basement of his hometown one day. Since he found this stone, it seems to be bound to him. No matter where he throws the stone, as long as he has a thought in his mind, the stone will instantly appear in his hand. It's very magical. And after research, Lin Tian found that this stone has two magical effects. The first effect. Carrying the stone with him. He can understand the general voice and clear emotions of animals. And it can make all animals naturally have a good impression of him. And the second effect. As long as the stone is soaked in water, ordinary water can be converted into a magical spiritual water. Watering the spiritual water on plants. It can accelerate plant growth and plant efficacy. Giving animals to drink. It can slightly improve the physical fitness and intelligence of animals. After discovering the magical effect of this stone, Lin Tian's first reaction was to come to the mountains to be a forest ranger. This is the life he wants. And with this magical stone, his life in the mountains will become easier and more comfortable. While thinking in his heart, Lin Tian glanced at the live broadcast room. In the moment when he was distracted, there were already a few scattered comments in the live broadcast room. Anchor? You are just in your early 20s? Be a forest ranger. I heard that forest rangers are one of the loneliest professions. It is rare to go home once a year. Is there really someone who can endure this loneliness? Honestly, what have you experienced that made you choose this profession? Is this planning to retire in advance? Because Lin Tian's live broadcast room was just created today. There are not many online viewers, only a dozen or so. So there are not many comments. Most people are surprised that Lin Tian is a forest ranger. After all, Lin Tian is only 22 years old today and just graduated from college. Under normal circumstances, people of this age will not choose forest rangers. Because the job of forest ranger is really lonely. Living in the depths of uninhabited mountains for a long time, without a companion to talk to. Repeating the same life and work day after day. Few young people can endure this. However, this does not include Lin Tian. He is different. He has loved life in nature and small animals since he was a child. He does not think that life in nature will be boring. Of course, the most important thing is, Lin Tian has a small stone that can understand the voice of animals and make spiritual water. Life in nature will make him feel much more relaxed. The job of a forest ranger is actually quite good. I think it is not bad to be away from human habitation and be with nature. While interacting with the live broadcast room, Lin Tian continued to climb the mountain. Today is his first day of reporting. He still has a lot of things to do. It is noon now. The sun in early summer is very hot. Fortunately, the trees in the 10,000 mountains are very tall and lush. They block most of the sunlight, leaving only mottled beams of light. While climbing the mountain, Lin Tian enjoys the scenery along the way and chats with the audience in the live broadcast room. He did not feel bored along the way. Soon. An hour later. Lin Tian came to his own management area. At the entrance of the area, a middle-aged man wearing camouflage and dark skin was waiting here early. Hello, are you Lin Tian? My name is Wang Jian, and I am a forest ranger in the area next to yours. The bureau asked me to arrange a place for you to live. Wang Jian stepped forward and shook hands with Lin Tian. Lin Tian also smiled and stretched out his hand. Hello, Brother Wang, thank you for your help. Hehe, no trouble, no trouble. But you are much younger than I thought. This is the first time I have seen a forest ranger as young as you. You just started working, right? Why do you want to be a forest ranger? This job is not for young people. Wang Jian was surprised to see that Lin Tian was so young. At the same time, maybe because he hadn't met anyone for a long time guarding the reserve. Seeing Lin Tian, Wang Jian seemed particularly enthusiastic and pulled him to talk a lot. Lin Tian just smiled and replied a few words occasionally. While chatting, the two continued to walk deeper into the area along the mountain path. After walking for more than 10 minutes, a courtyard surrounded by red bricks appeared at the end of the path. But the courtyard seemed to have been abandoned for a long time, with vines growing along the wall and half of the gate missing. Wang Jian saw Lin Tian looking at the house on the hillside and smiled. You see, the small red brick courtyard in front is the forest ranger's house in this area. However, since the last forest ranger retired, no one has served as a forest ranger in this area for 7 or 8 years. So, this small courtyard has been vacant for 7 or 8 years and no one lives there. I guess a lot of weeds have grown there. If you want to live here, I'm afraid you'll have to spend some time cleaning it up. Lin Tian also saw that no one had lived in this house for a long time. The vines growing wildly on the courtyard wall almost blocked the color of the courtyard wall itself. From a distance, it looked like a green wall. It's okay, just clean it slowly. Lin Tian smiled and didn't care. The workload of the forest ranger is not much. When he is free from work, he can spare a lot of time to take care of the house. Lin Tian took the lead and walked in front, wanting to see his new residence first. Wang Jian followed behind with a smile. The end of the path is the gate of the yard. Lin Tian reached the gate and pushed open the rotten wooden door. The wooden door has not been visited for a long time. The door hinges are rusty. When it was pushed open, it made an old creaking sound. Lin Tian pushed the wooden door open with some effort. He was about to step in. At this time, he suddenly noticed a dark shadow from the corner of his eye, flying straight towards him. Lin Tian reacted very quickly and subconsciously took a step back. He avoided the shadow. But he almost bumped into Wang Jian who was following behind. Hey, Lin Tian, what's wrong? Wang Jian behind him was also startled by Lin Tian's action. He asked in confusion. Brother Wang, there seems to be something in this yard. Lin Tian frowned slightly. He looked down at the black shadow that attacked him. He saw a green wild fruit lying on the wild grass at the gate of the yard. Is this a jujube? Lin Tian looked at the unripe jujube on the ground and was stunned. Why did the jujube in this yard suddenly fly towards him? Lin Tian was puzzled. When he looked up at the yard again, his pupils were suddenly startled. He was stunned by the scene inside. In the yard, on a lush jujube tree, a group of figures with soft golden hair were squatting. They had long tails, fluffy hair, and big black eyes. Some were sitting or standing, or hanging upside down on the tree. They stared at Lin Tian one by one, roaring threateningly at him, as if facing a great enemy. There seemed to be more than a dozen of them. And their identities. I believe that as long as you are a Chinese, you can recognize them at first sight. They are the first-class endangered animals unique to China. One of the most beautiful and precious monkeys in the world. The prototype of the Monkey King in Journey to the West. Sichuan Golden Monkey. At this moment, these well-behaved golden monkeys all looked at him as if they were facing a great enemy, with their long tails erected high, full of hostility towards him. Looking at their appearance, Lin Tian looked strange. These golden monkeys seemed to blame him for intruding into their territory. Chapter 2. The house has been uninhabited for a long time. Has golden monkeys grown in it? Lin Tian, what's wrong? Wang Jian, who followed behind, was curious when he saw Lin Tian standing at the gate of the courtyard without going in. He looked past Lin Tian and looked towards the courtyard. He immediately saw the golden monkeys in groups on the jujube tree. He was also stunned. Oh my god! This is a golden monkey! Why are there golden monkeys here? Wang Jian was stunned. Golden monkeys are key first-class protected animals. Naturally, they are also the focus of protection in the jurisdiction. They actually ran to the inner and outer peripheries of the jurisdiction. And it seems that they have settled down in the residence. Since he has not discovered it. Oh my god! Is this a group of wild golden monkeys? There are so many. Every one of them is so handsome. I really want to touch one. Wait, isn't this Brother Tian's residence? Why would a golden monkey live here? Isn't this a nest? Oh my god, no one has lived in this house for a long time, so it must be a golden monkey, right? Ahaha, host, your house is occupied by monkeys. The audience in the live broadcast room followed the mobile phone camera on Lin Tian's chest and saw the group of golden monkeys in the yard, and they were also surprised. At the same time, they found that the group of golden monkeys regarded the residence that had been uninhabited for a long time as their territory. They were full of hostility towards the sudden arrival of Lin Tian and Wang Jian. Look! The largest male golden monkey picked a green date from the tree and threw it at Lin Tian. At the same time, he let out a low roar of deterrence. Haas! Outsiders, leave, territory. Because of the stone with the expression, Lin Tian can roughly understand the thoughts of animals, and his face is strange. This house is obviously his residence now, but now he treats it as an outsider. Lin Tian, these golden monkeys may regard this house as their territory. Although Wang Jian could not understand what the golden monkeys were thinking, but he roughly guessed what was going on through the hostile behavior of the golden monkeys. The expression was a little abnormal and embarrassed. Lin Tian was really unlucky. He came here for a long distance, but the house was occupied by monkeys. And these are first-class protected animals, and they cannot be driven away by force. The only way is to report to the bureau and see how the bureau arranges. Lin Tian, let's report the situation here to the bureau and see how the bureau arranges. Wang Jian gave Lin Tian a suggestion. But Lin Tian shook his head. Even if he reports to the bureau now, the earliest he can arrange a new residence for himself is tomorrow. But he needs a place to stay tonight. Although he could shamelessly squeeze into Wang Jian's residence, or choose to walk for several hours on the mountain road to stay at the villager's home at the foot of the mountain. But these are not good choices. If possible, he still hopes to live in his own house. Brother Wang, don't bother the bureau first. I want to try to communicate with the monkey group first to see if they can give the house back to us. Communicate with monkeys. Wang Jian was stunned for a long time after hearing Lin Tian's words, and seemed not to understand what he meant. And Lin Tian did not explain much. He untied the big luggage bag behind him and took out a big red apple from the bag. This apple was grown by him with spiritual water. Not only is it big, but it tastes very delicious. It has a strong attraction to animals. Lin Tian broke the apple in half with his hands, slowly walked into the yard, and looked at the largest golden monkey on the tree. This male golden monkey looks like the Monkey King. Ji. Outsider, stop. When the golden Monkey King saw Lin Tian approaching, he immediately bared his teeth, raised his tail high, and made a threatening sound. Lin Tian saw this and stopped approaching, and at the same time slowed down his voice to indicate that he had no hostility. Don't be nervous, I have no ill intentions, I just want to communicate with you. The house you are staying in now is not your territory. You also saw these strange buildings. They are very different from the trees in the forest, because they are human buildings. So, this place is actually where we humans live. Lin Tian spoke slowly. He saw that the golden monkeys were attracted by the fruit trees planted around the yard by the former forest ranger. And the presence of the yard strongman can block some natural enemies of the monkeys. So it became a territory favored by the monkeys. It's a bit difficult to get them to give up this place. However, Lin Tian is not without any solution. Don't be afraid, as long as you leave here, I will give you this apple for free. The apples in his hand, watered by spiritual water, have an indescribable temptation to animals. And the jujube trees are not yet ripe. Compared with the unripe green jujubes, the apples in his hand must be more tempting. Not to mention the reaction of the monkeys. Wang Jian and the audience in the live broadcast room were confused by Lin Tian's actions. What is this doing? Really communicating with the monkeys? Bribing them with apples? Let's not talk about whether they can understand what you mean. Wanting people to move away just for an apple, isn't it too contemptuous of monkeys? What is Tian doing? Using an apple to make people move away. Host, are you here to make people laugh? You look down on monkeys too much. An apple is not enough to fill my teeth. Do you really think the monkeys in the mountains have never seen the world? The audience looked at Lin Tian's actions with laughter and tears. Then, the reaction of the monkeys was beyond their expectations. When Lin Tian took out the apples that had been watered with spiritual water, the monkey's eyes were fixed on the apples. There was also a little monkey who couldn't resist the temptation and tried to come down from the tree. Although it was quickly pulled back by its parents. But it can be seen that the monkeys really want to eat apples. Why do I feel that the monkeys are eager to move? This apple is so tempting. Could it be that the monkeys in the mountains have never seen the world? The barrage was puzzled. At this time, Lin Tian saw that although the monkeys wanted to eat apples, they were still very cautious. So, after he put the apple down, he stepped back more than 10 steps, indicating that he had no ill intentions. The monkeys in the tree looked at the apples on the ground. The fragrance was tempting them all the time. The other monkeys around were even more eager to move, but under the pressure of the Monkey King, no one went up to pick it up. Don't worry, eat it, this apple is delicious. Lin Tian stood in the distance and said with a smile. The Monkey King looked at Lin Tian cautiously, perhaps because he felt that Lin Tian did not have any ill intentions. It may also be that he really couldn't resist the fragrance of the apple. The Monkey King finally moved. It climbed down the tree carefully and approached the apple carefully. Then he quickly hooked the apple with his hand and quickly climbed back up the tree, looking at Lin Tian vigilantly. But Lin Tian put his hands behind his back and just smiled at it, without any other actions. The Monkey King was relieved and then looked at the apple. Holding it in his hand, the tempting fragrance became more intense. Although he was worried about danger, the Monkey King couldn't help but take a small bite. Just a small bite. The sweet and delicious flesh permeates the mouth. It also has a refreshing taste that reaches the depths of the taste buds. At the same time, a feeling that goes straight to the heart comes, and it feels like its whole body is flying. The Monkey King feels like he has eaten the most delicious food in the world. Chi Chi. Chapter 3. Stroke the Monkey King. The apples watered with spiritual water not only taste delicious. They also have the effect of slightly enhancing physical fitness and intelligence. The Golden Monkey King fell in love with it as soon as he took the first bite. He ate the half apple in a few bites. After eating, he licked the apple juice on his fingers, not wanting to waste it at all. The monkeys around smelled the smell in the air and became a little agitated. Lin Tian put the remaining half apple in front of the monkeys. The monkeys couldn't help jumping down from the tree to fight for it. Wow, is this apple so delicious? Look, they are about to fight for this half apple. The anchor is so cunning, this is a bribe to the Monkey King. Damn, I also want to feed the golden monkeys. Half an apple almost caused the monkeys to fight. In the end, it was the Monkey King who roared, and the golden monkeys settled down. And the half apple had been stuffed into the mouth of an unknown clever monkey. Some golden monkeys who didn't get to eat the apples were very regretful. And the Golden Monkey King was also not satisfied. It stared at Lin Tian, and its eyes were not as hostile as before. Lin Tian was relieved to see that the apple had worked. He took out another apple from his backpack and discussed with the Monkey King, I have another apple here. As long as you move out of my yard, I can give it to you for free. Chiji. Delicious fruit. The Golden Monkey King's eyes lit up when he saw Lin Tian take out another apple. The monkeys around him also became restless. But this time Lin Tian didn't give the apple up again, but looked at the Golden Monkey King. The meaning was very clear. If you move out of my yard, I will give you this apple back. Chiji. Okay, we'll leave. You have to give us delicious fruit. The Golden Monkey King understood what Lin Tian said. In order to taste the delicious apple again, it turned its head and growled a few times at the tribe in the tree behind it. Soon, the golden monkeys jumped from the trees to the courtyard wall one by one. Then they climbed out of the courtyard and settled on several big trees outside the courtyard. No? The golden monkeys really moved away. Host, it seems that you can really communicate with the monkeys. Zhen, are you serious? How did you do this? FK. Brother Tian is so good. This is really a trick. More and more onlookers in the live broadcast room were stunned to see that the golden monkeys actually left the courtyard. Wang Jian in the courtyard was also stunned. He thought Lin Tian was joking. Negotiating with the golden monkeys to give up the house, isn't this a joke? Or bribe with an apple? This is too magical. But I didn't expect it. Lin Tian really did it. It's simply incomprehensible. It's done. Seeing the golden monkeys leave the courtyard, Lin Tian breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, he felt a little relieved. Fortunately, the monkeys he met were gentle golden monkeys. They were polite and easy to communicate with. If it were the monkeys in Mount Imei, even if he could understand the voices of animals, things would not go so smoothly. Jiji. Kuakuo, give me delicious Kuakuo. The only one left on the jujube tree in the yard was the golden monkey king. It stood on the tree and asked Lin Tian for an apple. Okay, here you go. Lin Tian took out the apple, but did not put it under the tree, but held it in his hand. At the same time, he waved to the golden monkey king on the tree, come, this is yours. The golden monkey king looked at Lin Tian, still cautious in his heart. But the fragrance of the Ling Shui apple tempted it. It struggled for a moment, but still jumped down from the tree, and stood upright on its feet and carefully came to Lin Tian. Lin Tian squatted down, stretched out his hand holding the apple, and looked at it with a smile. The golden monkey king could feel the kindness of Lin Tian. It did not hesitate any more, and came carefully to the front, stretched out its hand to grab the apple, and then put it in its mouth to bite. Lin Tian also observed the golden monkey king from a close distance at this time. Two black eyes with large pupils looked very cute. A long and soft coat of yellow golden silk. Very fluffy. It must feel good to touch. Thinking so, Lin Tian stretched out his hand and touched the soft fur on the golden monkey king's head. This scene scared Wang Jian, who was standing beside him. This is a wild golden monkey. And it is the monkey king of the monkey group. If Lin Tian touches it rashly, he might be scratched. The audience was also stunned. Wang Jian was about to stop him. Lin Tian had already touched the golden monkey king's head. But what surprised Wang Jian was, the golden monkey king did not have the stress reaction he imagined, but ate the apple in his hand seriously. And did not respond to Lin Tian's touch on the head. Lin Tian stroked the golden monkey king with his hand, and felt that it was indeed comfortable. It can be seen that the monkey king likes cleanliness very much. His hair is soft and beautiful. It feels very good to touch. Kai Kixiu, let go of that monkey, let me do it. Golden monkey, I want to stroke it. I want to stroke it. Brother Tian, let go of that monkey, come to me if you have anything. Upstairs, you are not right. The audience in the live broadcast room also envied. This is the golden monkey king. They also want to stroke the monkey king. Not only the audience in the live broadcast room envied, but Wang Jian on the side also wanted to stroke it. This fluffy hair seems to be stroked. But he doesn't have the courage of Lin Tian. It would be difficult to deal with it if he was scratched by the monkey king. After Lin Tian stroked the monkey king for a while, he got up and walked into the yard. The sky was gradually getting dark, and he had to clean up the yard early. And Wang Jian behind him also followed into the yard. I didn't expect this yard to be so big. It's probably going to be hard to clean the house. I'm afraid it'll take until midnight. After Lin Tian entered the yard, he found that the house was even messy than he thought. A 200 square meter yard with 4 bungalows. He worked for a long time, but just cleaned up the scattered furniture in the house. And now it was almost dark. But there was still a lot of work to do. An hour later, Wang Jian wiped the sweat from his forehead, stood up, and looked at the messy rooms with a somewhat embarrassed expression. Lin Tian, I have to go back. I don't think I can finish it today. Why don't you go to my place for a while? Wang Jian didn't expect the house to be so messy. But he couldn't stay to help. He still had work tomorrow, so he had to go down the mountain before dark. It would be great if we could pay someone to help. It would be done in one day. It's a pity that there is no one here except a group of monkeys. Wang Jian sighed. He thought that if this place was in the city, he could find someone to help clean it up. It's a pity that there is only a group of monkeys here. But Lin Tian's eyes lit up when he heard Wang Jian's words. He clenched his right fist excitedly. Yes. Why didn't I think of it? Although there are no people here, there are monkeys. Brother Wang, thank you for reminding me. After that, Lin Tian excitedly left the house. Wang Jian, who stayed in the house, was stunned when he saw Lin Tian suddenly leave. Then he quickly reacted. Lin Tian, he didn't want to find those golden monkeys outside to help clean the house, right? It shouldn't be, right? Otherwise, this is too whimsical. People are monkeys. How could they be willing to help you work? Chapter 4. It's getting more and more punishable. Wang Jian's guess was right. Lin Tian really went to find the golden monkey to help with the work. Lin Tian went out of the yard and found the golden monkey king, who was about to leave after eating apples. Little Jinzi, Don't leave yet. I need your help. Lin Tian called the Golden Monkey King. Gee. The Monkey King tilted his head, looking confused. Was little Jinzi calling him? Yet. Lin Tian smiled and walked forward, squatting in front of the Golden Monkey King, while touching its hair, he said. I haven't lived in my house for a long time, and there are a lot of weeds growing. Can you help me clean up the weeds? Don't worry, I will pay you. After that, Lin Tian took out some remaining spiritual water apples from his backpack. There were 5 in total, neatly placed in front of the Monkey King. As long as you help me, these apples are all yours. What did I see? Brother Tian actually planned to let the monkeys help with the work. Brother Tian, even if you are lazy and don't want to work, you can't come up with such a stupid idea. Let the national treasure Golden Monkey help you with the work, Brother Tian, you are really a fool. Ha ha ha, Brother Tian, is he too busy working? How could he think of letting the monkeys help you with the work? It's good that you don't tear down the house. Baogba Wang, if the monkeys can be obedient, I will read my name backwards. Lin Tian hasn't closed the live broadcast room yet. So. The scene in the yard was seen by the audience. There was a burst of laughter in the barrage, and everyone was watching the fun. Wang Jian also came out of the house and saw that Lin Tian really found the Golden Monkey King and asked them to work. He stood aside and looked at him with a strange look. He was secretly complaining. This Lin Tian is worthy of being just graduated from school, and his ideas are naive. Golden monkeys in the wild. How could they be so obedient? And they only gave 5 apples and wanted to command a whole tribe to work. How could this be possible? This is not the way to exploit child labor. But the Golden Monkey King didn't think so. Its big black eyes stared at the tempting apples on the ground and swallowed its saliva. Chiji? Chiji? Really? As long as we work, we will get so many delicious fruits. The Golden Monkey King looked expectant and excited. I can eat delicious fruits again. And the price is just to dig grass. Of course it's true, I'm not lying to you. Lin Tian smiled and nodded. The Golden Monkey King couldn't sit still when he heard the affirmative reply. It rushed out of the yard with its 4 limbs and spirit. After a while, it called back the tribe that stayed outside the yard. After the monkeys came back, they all followed the Golden Monkey King, squatted in front of Lin Tian and looked at Lin Tian excitedly. Lin Tian looked at the well-behaved golden monkeys sitting in a row in front of him, and a smile appeared on his lips. I told your boss that if you help me clean the weeds in the yard, I will give you 5 apples. Lin Tian repeated what he had said to the Golden Monkey King. At the same time, he demonstrated how to clean the weeds in front of the monkeys. The golden monkeys were very smart. After watching Lin Tian's weeding movements, they knew what Lin Tian wanted them to do. After weeding, they had delicious fruits to eat. They were all excited at once. Chiji! Chiji! Pull weeds, eat fruits. Pull weeds, eat fruits. There was no need for the Monkey King to urge them. The golden monkeys actively began to clean the weeds growing in the house. The busy golden figures stunned the audience in front of the live broadcast room. Baoji Ba Wang, Brother Tian, I admit that I spoke a little loudly just now, just pretend that I didn't say anything. Did the golden monkeys really understand what Brother Tian meant? Not only did they understand, but they actually started working. Oh my god! Brother Tian is so bad. Broken voice. The apples have been bought, where can I find such a group of cheap monkey workers? No, Brother Tian, it's very torturous to let the golden monkeys work. Very torturous. Brother Tian, I want to report you for illegally hiring monkey workers. The bullet comments in the live broadcast room were like a white torrent every few seconds. They were all stunned by the scene in front of them. The number of people online in the live broadcast room increased visibly, from hundreds of people online at the original level to thousands of people. And this number is still increasing. They were all attracted by the rare scene in front of them. And in the yard, Lin Tian saw that the golden monkeys understood what he meant and were willing to help with the work, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. With the help of these little monkeys, he should be able to clean up the house before dinner tonight. And there is no need to worry about whether asking the monkeys to help him work will violate the criminal law. After all, he did not force the monkeys to help him work. It was through a transaction. The golden monkeys also actively and voluntarily helped. Linear. Lin Tian, how did you do this? Wang Jian was stunned and looked at the golden monkeys who were helping to work in the yard, with a confused face. He really couldn't figure out how Lin Tian did it. Lin Tian smiled and didn't explain much. He said casually, maybe this group of golden monkeys is smarter and more human. Is that so? But thanks to them, you should be able to clean up the house earlier tonight. Wang Jian nodded without thinking much. Since there are monkeys to help, he can go back earlier. Lin Tian, I'll go back first. If you have any questions, you can contact me at any time by phone. Wang Jian saw that Lin Tian had solved the problem of housing, and he didn't stay any longer. After leaving a phone number, he turned around and left. When leaving, Wang Jian turned his head to look at the golden monkeys who were still busy and excited in the yard. Thinking that there was also a group of long-tailed monkeys near the area he managed. Should we try Lin Tian's method? Buy a bag of fruit and let the monkeys help him do some chores? Hiss. Those monkeys won't hit him on the head with fruit, right? Shaking his head, Wang Jian abandoned this idea. This method, I guess only Lin Tian can do it. Chapter 5. Sit in a row and eat fruit. 9 o'clock in the evening. Lin Tian finally cleaned up the house and made the bed. He was tired after a day. He could only make do with dinner. He cooked a bowl of noodles and squatted on the threshold in front of the house to eat. On both sides of his left and right hands, there were rows of golden monkeys squatting. They each held half a big apple in their hands and ate it deliciously in small bites. At this time, the weeds in the yard were all cleared by the efforts of the golden monkeys. In order to reward them, Lin Tian also took out 3 more fruits that he had kept. So that they can be like now. Half an apple in the monkey's hand. Squatting in front of the door. Sitting in a row, eating fruits. The anchor eats noodles, and the monkey eats peaches. The scene is so warm and touching. I took a picture of this scene. It's so healing. Envy. I also want to take a photo with the golden monkeys. Is this the harmonious coexistence of man and nature? I feel like I can watch Brother Tian eat noodles all day long. At this time, the live broadcast room is no longer like when it just started, with dozens of online viewers. Instead, there are more than 3,000 online viewers. This is the popularity of just one day of broadcasting. There is no doubt that Lin Tian's live broadcast room became popular on the first day of broadcasting. Not only is the barrage very active, gifts and rewards are constantly given. There are several carnival rockets alone. However, Lin Tian doesn't care much. He opened a live broadcast room without expecting himself to be famous, nor does he expect to receive many gifts in the live broadcast room. He just wants to have a place to talk and chat when he is bored. What happened now has increased by thousands of fans. Although there are some unexpected surprises. But he won't take it too seriously. Before going to bed at night, Lin Tian closed the live broadcast room, checked his phone for a while and then fell asleep. But what he didn't know was that not long after he fell asleep, his live broadcast video quietly became popular on Douyin. Number Deep Mountain Forest Ranger, First Class Protected Animal Sichuan Golden Monkey. Number Harmonious Coexistence Between Man and Nature. Number 2 related titles are below the video. And the video edited some unnecessary shots. It was only a few minutes long. At the beginning, Lin Tian was holding a red apple, like a weird uncle seducing a little loli. He said to the Golden Monkey King, "Little Jinzi, come and help me work, this apple is yours." Where did this weird uncle come from? He actually lured the Golden Monkey to work. Are you thinking too much? You want the monkey to help you work for an apple? Is this a wild golden monkey? It will definitely not be so obedient. The barrage of comments made complaints. But the subsequent scenes made them stunned. The golden monkeys really helped with the work, meticulously and busily pulling weeds in the yard. The audience was stunned, and once suspected whether this was a malicious editing, or the monkeys were forced to work. Otherwise, how could the monkeys be so obedient? And then the pictures came out one after another, and the monkeys were not coerced and worked voluntarily, which made them shut up again. The next picture. It was a picture of Lin Tian sitting in a row with the golden monkeys and eating fruit. It immediately caused a scream from a girl. What a warm picture! If this picture is taken to participate in a photography competition, it might win a prize. Is this really not a posed photo? What posed photo? This is a live video broadcast throughout the whole process, it can't be faked. Live broadcast? Brother upstairs, Do you know the room number of the live broadcast room? Private me, I'll send it to you. The next morning, Lin Tian was awakened by the chirping of birds outside the window. After stretching and opening his eyes, he found that it was already bright outside. I seem to have overslept a little. I walked on the mountain road all day yesterday, and then I was busy cleaning the house all night after returning. It's rare that I overslept. Lin Tian got up with blurry eyes, picked up the phone that was charging on the bedside, and checked the time. Then he got up and went out. As soon as he opened the door, he saw a dozen wild fruits of different sizes piled up at the door. Is this, sent by Xiaojunzi? Only the golden monkeys can easily climb over the wall in this yard. Unexpectedly, the golden monkeys actually sent him fruits. The fruits he sent were obviously paid. Well, if I have a chance to meet them next time, I will send them some spiritual fruits. Crack! Lin Tian picked up a green pear, wiped it, and then put it in his mouth and took a bite. The sour and astringent taste is not bad. Because the supplies from the bureau can only be delivered in the afternoon, Lin Tian ate noodles again in the morning. Lin Tian was squatting at the door eating happily. The old forest ranger Wang Jian came again. Brother Wang. Haha, good morning, Lin Tian. I thought you would oversleep today. Wang Jian smiled and greeted Lin Tian. He came to help Lin Tian get familiar with the work today, and by the way, he talked about the duties and precautions of the forest ranger. Lin Tian also knew that on the first day of work, he would need the help of the big brother Wang Jian to lead the way. So he quickly finished the noodles. Then he got up and followed Wang Jian out of the yard and started the first day of formal forest patrol today. Chapter 6. The sudden appearance of wild giant pandas. In the morning, Sichuan-Shu Nature Reserve. Lin Tian followed Wang Jian walking in the deep forest. On both sides were towering trees, and the lush trees blocked out a large area of sunlight. This area mainly grows Parachoria chinensis and silver fir, and a small number of camphor trees, which are rare and protected trees unique to my country. On the way, Wang Jian introduced the nearby tree species to Lin Tian. Lin Tian looked at the towering trees, and his neck was sore from looking up. Especially the Parachoria chinensis. It was at least as high as a dozen floors. Looking up from the bottom of the tree, you can only see a pointed treetop. Such tall trees can't be seen in the city. They can only be seen in specific nature reserves. And protecting these giant trees is Lin Tian's responsibility. Yes. Beware of bald Jiang, and Xiang is responsible. Wow, the scenery here is so beautiful, it feels like I'm in a primeval forest. The trees here are so tall. So tall, these trees must have been growing for hundreds of years. Brother Tian, climb to the top of the tree and show us the scenery up there. In the live broadcast room of Lin Tian's mobile phone hanging on his chest, barrages of comments floated by from time to time. After the video of Lin Tian's interaction with the golden monkey became a little popular on Douyin last night, his live broadcast room gained a lot of spontaneous fans. And because of the unique scenery of the live broadcast, the city audience who had never seen the deep mountains liked it very much. At this time, less than 2 hours after the live broadcast, the number of online users had exceeded 1,000. And the number of people was still growing. From time to time, some small gifts floated by. These small gifts accumulated little by little, and Lin Tian's backstage earned a few hundred yuan. This was an unexpected surprise that Lin Tian did not expect. However, Lin Tian did not take it too seriously. He still treated the live broadcast room with the original casual attitude. He would not pay special attention to it because of the popularity and rewards. This is the Parachoria chinensis, it's really tall. Lin Tian looked up at the Parachoria chinensis, and felt that nature was really magical. Such a tall tree could grow so strong and straight. If the Parachoria chinensis is watered with spiritual water, will this unique tree grow taller? Of course. Lin Tian just thought about it. This mountain forest is too big. If you want to water it with spiritual water, I don't know how much spiritual water you need. It's tall, these are rare protected trees that have grown for decades, but because of this, you have to be careful of illegal logging. In order to prevent illegal logging, this area is normally patrolled once a day. In addition to this area, there is another area with many rare protected plants, which need to be patrolled every day. Wang Jian and Lin Tian continued to move forward while explaining the work that the forest rangers in the jurisdiction need to do every day. And Lin Tian also took out a small notebook and wrote down everything he needed to prevent mistakes. Actually, I have to thank you for coming to work as a forest ranger, otherwise I would have been in charge of this area. Wang Jian grinned at Lin Tian, with gratitude in his smile. It turned out that before Lin Tian came, Wang Jian had been in charge of patrolling this area because the bureau was short of manpower. And Wang Jian was originally responsible for forest protection in an area. Then he took on forest protection in the Wolong mountain area. It was like taking one salary and doing two jobs. Every day, he had to work until late before he could rest. So, when Wang Jian heard that a new forest ranger had come, he immediately felt enthusiastic and provided all kinds of help to Lin Tian very responsibly. He was afraid that Lin Tian would quit halfway through the work and these tasks would be placed on him again. Don't worry, Brother Wang, I will do these jobs well in the future and reduce your burden. Lin Tian put away the small notebook, patted Wang Jian on the shoulder, and told him not to worry, he would not run away. This made Wang Jian feel a lot more at ease, and at the same time, he paid more attention to teaching Lin Tian about work. The two of them patrolled and chatted along the way. They soon left the Sichuan-Shu Nature Reserve. After crossing the mountain, the two came to a low-lying area. The trees here are shorter. But only relative to the Sichuan-Shu Nature, they are still more than 10 meters high. It's just that there are more bushes. Rustle. Because there has been no human habitation for a long time, many fallen leaves have accumulated on the ground. Stepping on them makes a rustling sound. Wang Jian walked in front, turning his head and chatting with Lin Tian with a smile, while talking about some of his own things. But Lin Tian suddenly stopped. He stared at a huge figure behind the bushes and suddenly pulled Wang Jian, who was about to continue walking forward. Brother Wang, wait! There is something ahead. Hey! Seeing Lin Tian's nervous expression, Wang Jian's heart tightened, and he hurriedly stopped, looking ahead vigilantly. I saw a dark figure crawling behind the bushes more than 10 meters away. Because of the footsteps of the two, the black shadow obviously noticed that someone was approaching. Suddenly, a black shadow emerged from behind the bushes and ran towards the two. Huff, huff. After the black shadow emerged, Lin Tian and Wang Jian also saw the full appearance of the black shadow. It has a round head and a round body, with a body of black and white hair. It has iconic dark circles under its eyes. It looks cute and clumsy. It is the national treasure animal with a cute appearance, the black and white giant panda. But the wild giant panda in front of us is not as docile and cute as the one in the zoo. It swayed its limbs awkwardly, and twisted and turned to run quickly towards Lin Tian and Wang Jian. Chapter 7. Died on the first day in office? Oh my god! Is this a wild giant panda? FK, Sichuan is worthy of it, wild giant pandas can be found everywhere. Giant panda! Giant panda! I want to pet it! I want to pet it! Calm down upstairs! But what is the giant panda going to do? Wait, it's coming! Brother Tian, run, the giant panda is coming! The audience in the live broadcast room also saw the giant panda through the camera. At first, I was very excited. But then I found something wrong. This giant panda was shaking its head and rushing towards Lin Tian and the others. Look at it! It's going to pounce on Lin Tian and the others. Suddenly, everyone's heart tightened. Lin Tian and Wang Jian also saw the black and white ball rushing over. After they were stunned for a while. Without saying a word, they turned around and ran at the same time. Just kidding. Although the giant panda is chubby and cute, the running movement is also clumsy, and it doesn't look intimidating. But this does not mean that giant pandas have no attack power. On the contrary. Except for their poor speed, giant pandas are the top hunters in nature in terms of size, strength, and defense. They can even compete with tigers. If a giant panda pounces on them and attacks them, the consequences will be disastrous. Lin Tian ran very fast. He drank a lot of spiritual water to strengthen his physique. Although his physical fitness did not exceed the limit of humans. But it was much better than that of ordinary national athletes. When he ran, his face was not red and he was out of breath. He even had the energy to turn his head to observe the giant panda chasing them. For this wild giant panda that suddenly attacked them, Lin Tian always felt something was wrong. Normally, giant pandas will not actively hunt other animals. They mainly feed on bamboo. Occasionally, they will prey on some small insects and invertebrates. Rarely will they actively hunt large creatures. And it is even rarer to chase them like this. Lin Tian was puzzled. He turned his head to observe the giant panda carefully. He found that the giant panda had to stop and rest after running 2 steps, and its body seemed very weak. At the same time, its expression showed pain from time to time. It hurts, help me. The giant panda called weakly. It looked at Lin Tian with grievance. Lin Tian's heart skipped a beat. This giant panda is not right, it seems. Injured? Lin Tian guessed in his heart. Who? Lin Tian? Why did you stop? Run quickly, don't let the giant panda catch up. At this time, Wang Jian was running in front and panting. He turned his head occasionally and saw that Lin Tian had stopped. He was stunned. He hurriedly urged Lin Tian to continue running. Lin Tian shook his head, pointed at the giant panda, frowned and said, "Brother Wang, the giant panda seems to be injured and wants to ask us for help." Injured? Wang Jian was stunned and turned his head in confusion. He found that the giant panda chasing behind seemed to be in pain. But this is just Lin Tian's guess. What if he guessed wrong? Being slapped by a wild giant panda is no joke. Lin Tian, this is just your guess, let's leave here quickly. Even if the giant panda is really injured, we can report it to the bureau and let the bureau send someone to take a look. Wang Jian didn't dare to gamble. Although he didn't know why there were wild giant pandas here. But he didn't want to have much contact with them. He just planned to report the situation to the bureau. After all, he was really scared when he was chased by the giant panda just now. Now his heart is still pounding. Wang Jian pulled Lin Tian to leave. But Lin Tian still didn't plan to leave. "Brother Wang, you go first, I want to go over and take a look." "Lin Tian, it's too dangerous. Didn't you see how fiercely the giant panda chased us just now? What if we are attacked? We can just report the situation here to the bureau." Wang Jian advised earnestly. Although he also saw that the giant panda seemed to be wrong and seemed to be injured. But even so, he didn't want Lin Tian to take this risk. If he was scratched by a giant panda, it would be terrible. "Brother Wang, I know what you said. Let me try first. If it doesn't work, I will leave as you say." Lin Tian naturally knew what Wang Jian said. If possible, he would like to leave and let the bureau handle it. But the giant panda in the distance didn't seem to be injured in an ordinary way. It was more like, it was difficult to give birth. "My stomach hurts so much, my child. I can't give birth to my child." Through the special effect of the small stone, Lin Tian heard the giant panda's cry of pain in the distance. It couldn't run anymore at this time, and it sat weakly on the tree, holding its stomach and crying in pain. It was obvious that it was about to give up. It couldn't hold on until the bureau sent someone to rescue it. If he just left like this, it is very likely that there would be 2 deaths. Just leaving it alone, Lin Tian asked himself if he could do it. Although there was a little risk, he still wanted to try to help the giant panda. Even if it didn't work, he was sure to leave safely. Lin Tian stopped and turned around to continue walking back. Wang Jian was also surprised to see Lin Tian was so brave. When he wanted to persuade him, he found that Lin Tian had already walked a few steps to the giant panda. The wild giant panda saw Lin Tian coming. It suddenly pounced on Lin Tian. Lin Tian was so close that he had no time to dodge. Wang Jian felt cold in his heart. It's over. He was going to be attacked by the giant panda. It was just the first day of his appointment, and Lin Tian was going to die heroically. Chapter 8. It's born. Congratulations to Brother Tian for becoming a dad. Lin Tian, be careful. The giant panda was about to pounce on Lin Tian. Wang Jian opened his eyes wide in shock and warned him. At the same time, he rushed towards Lin Tian quickly. The audience in the live broadcast room also saw the giant panda's actions, and they were all shocked. "FK. The giant panda pounced on me. I can't run at this distance. Brother Tian, is he going to die on duty on his first day as a forest ranger?" There was a tension in the barrage. Lin Tian was also startled by the giant panda's sudden pounce. But thinking that the giant panda was injured, he resisted the urge to run away. He stood still. At this time, he felt his thigh sink. He saw the giant panda's 2 thick, fluffy claws tightly hugging his thigh. Then it raised its round head and looked at him with a pair of black eyes. "Bing-ing! My stomach hurts, help me! The giant panda is very weak at the moment." The pain in the lower abdomen prevented it from eating peacefully for several days. Lin Tian saw the giant panda pounce on him, wanting to seek his help, and he was relieved. Don't worry, I will help you. Lin Tian reached out and rubbed the giant panda's round head to comfort it. The giant panda has a lot of soft hair. It feels good to touch. The giant panda also raised its head and rubbed Lin Tian's palm to act coquettishly. What's going on? The giant panda doesn't seem to want to attack Brother Tian. It looks like it's acting coquettishly. Oh my god, is this a wild giant panda, not one that Brother Tian secretly domesticated? Ah, so envious, I also want to rub the giant panda's chubby head. The audience in the live broadcast room were stunned when they saw the giant panda hugging Lin Tian and acting coquettishly. What's going on? Wang Jian, who was not far away, was also stunned. This giant panda really doesn't seem to want to attack them? And it seems to be very close to Lin Tian. Could it be that Lin Tian's physique is so strong? Yesterday, the golden monkey trusted Lin Tian very much. Now even the giant panda is the same? Wang Jian was surprised. At this time, Lin Tian was worried about the safety of the giant panda. After comforting the giant panda for a while, he squatted down and carefully checked its belly. If the giant panda really had a difficult birth, it was probably because of an abnormal fetal position, or multiple births. Under normal circumstances, giant pandas rarely encounter difficult births. Because the giant panda cubs are all late-born. The newborn cubs are very small as a mouse. It is very easy to give birth. Sometimes, the giant panda mother may just lie down and rest. She can give birth to the cub with a whoosh like farting. This time it can cause a difficult birth. I think the problem should be with the baby. Thinking of this, Lin Tian reached out and touched the lower abdomen of the giant panda. What is Brother Tian doing? Oh my god, Brother Tian is so BT, he actually touched the belly of a human panda. Ah! I didn't expect Brother Tian to be such a person. He didn't even let go of a panda. Is this a live cat video? Call me by Fume, Brother Tian, let go of that panda, come to me if you have anything. The guy upstairs, there's something wrong with you. The audience didn't understand Lin Tian's actions. Wang Jian was also surprised. Seeing that the panda had no desire to attack, he also approached carefully. Lin Tian, what's wrong? Is there something wrong with the panda's stomach? Well, the reason why the giant panda is so uncomfortable is probably because of a difficult birth. Difficult birth? Wang Jian was shocked and his eyes widened. The giant panda in front of him is pregnant? And Lin Tian found out that it was a difficult birth? This thing happened so fast that Wang Jian didn't react for a while. The audience in the live broadcast room also heard Lin Tian's words and were equally shocked. Difficult birth? Oh my god, the giant panda is pregnant. Will it not give birth to a baby panda soon? I want to see the giant panda give birth. This baby won't be Brother Tian's? Otherwise, why does Brother Tian know so much about it? And the giant panda mother is so close to Brother Tian. The giant panda and Brother Tian have a close relationship, it's confirmed. Shocked, a certain anchor took advantage of his power and had an indescribable relationship with the giant panda. Okay, this is how people and animals are filmed, right? Netizens are always full of fun. Fortunately, at this time, Lin Tian didn't care about the barrage. At this moment, he frowned and stared at the belly of the big ball. After touching and observing just now, Lin Tian guessed that the giant panda's cub was indeed in an abnormal fetal position. And it was pregnant with twins. These two factors added together. It would be strange if the giant panda did not have a difficult birth. And one of the cubs was stuck at the birth canal, and it seemed to have been there for a while. If it is not dealt with, at the very least, the cub will die of lack of oxygen. At the worst, 1 body and 3 lives. Lin Tian did not dare to delay any longer. He had to help the giant panda give birth to the baby immediately. Mother bear, lie down, I will help you give birth to the baby. Lin Tian comforted the mother giant panda and let it lie on its back on the grass. This position is more convenient for the cub to be born. And the giant panda also understood what Lin Tian meant. There was no resistance. It lay obediently on the grass, exposing its soft belly. Wow! The panda listens to Brother Tian. The abdomen of the panda is the softest part. The fact that it can be exposed in front of Brother Tian shows that the panda trusts Brother Tian very much. Brother Tian, you really have some secrets with the panda mother. Tell the truth. Is the baby in the belly yours? If Brother Tian sees your outrageous guesses, he will probably vomit blood. The comments in the live broadcast room are getting more and more outrageous. Fortunately, Lin Tian is concentrating on helping the panda give birth at this moment, and has no time to read the comments. At this time, Lin Tian is stroking the panda's abdomen to help it correct the fetal position. The target is the cub stuck in the birth canal. He carefully squeezed the panda's lower abdomen with both hands, and his movements were gentle and cautious. Fortunately, because it was discovered in time, the panda cub's head was stuck. But it was not completely squeezed. With Lin Tian's careful push, the panda cub returned to the lower abdomen, so that the other cub can come out more smoothly. Only a slight sound was heard. With a whoosh, a giant panda cub that looked like a pink hairless mouse was successfully delivered. It lay on the grass, its eyes still not open, and it raised its head and cried for its mother. While Lin Tian helped to correct the fetal position, the audience in the live broadcast room watched nervously. At this moment, the cub was successfully born. The screen was full of cheers. It's born! It's born! What a small one, is this the giant panda cub? I didn't expect that one day I would watch a giant panda give birth in the live broadcast room. The birth of life. This scene is so touching. Brother Tian is awesome. Chapter 9. Pink, tender and chewy at first glance. It worked, it was born. Lin Tian, you can do it. On the side, Wang Jian looked at the giant panda under Lin Tian's comfort. It gave birth to a healthy baby, and was also happy. He took out his mobile phone to take a picture of this moment. But Lin Tian wiped the fine sweat on his forehead and did not relax. The giant panda mother still had a cub in her belly. Because the cub had been stuck in the birth canal, it would be weaker. If you want to give birth to it successfully, you can only rely on the giant panda mother to work hard. Bear mother, try harder, there is another baby in your belly. Lin Tian comforted the giant panda mother. The bear mother also knew that there was another baby in her belly. Start to work hard. The giant panda tried hard. But, because it had been tormented by the difficult birth for several days, it could not exert much strength at this time. The cub in its belly could not be born. Seeing this, Lin Tian took out the spiritual water in the mineral water bottle from the bamboo basket he brought. After unscrewing the bottle cap, he came to the mother panda. Mother panda, drink some water, and then try harder. Although the mother panda was very upset because she couldn't give birth to a baby at the moment, but she didn't refuse Lin Tian's kindness. She reluctantly stretched out her tongue and licked the spiritual water poured out of the bottle. And with just this one sip, the mother panda was suddenly stunned. She felt that her body had recovered some strength. Her physical fatigue was much relieved. This water tastes so good. After feeling the beauty of the spiritual water, this time, Lin Tian didn't need to urge her. The mother panda held the mineral water bottle by herself and raised her head. She started to drink. She drank all the spiritual water in the bottle at once. She even licked the water drops on the hair around her mouth, and seemed to be unsatisfied. I'm alive. After the giant panda's body recovered its strength, it started to work hard again. And Lin Tian was not idle either. He stroked the panda mother's belly and helped it correct the fetal position, so that the cubs could be born smoothly. Wait, Brother Tian, why are you still massaging the panda? Could there be another one in the belly? Oh my god, the panda is pregnant with twins. It seems to be true, look, the panda is still pushing. Come on, mommy bear. The audience who were celebrating just now saw Lin Tian still massaging the panda's belly. At this time, they also reacted. The panda mother is pregnant with twins. The barrage of comments instantly boiled. More and more passers-by were attracted by the scene and came to watch. The number of people online in Lin Tian's live broadcast room was growing rapidly. And all this, Lin Tian didn't even watch it. At this moment he was concentrating on delivering the baby to the panda mother. Come on, push harder. I can already see the baby's head. Just a little bit, push harder. It's born. It's born. After more than 10 minutes of hard work, the second panda cub was finally born successfully. Lin Tian wiped the beads of sweat from his forehead. He looked at another cute giant panda cub lying on the grass. A relieved smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. The mother and child of the giant panda are safe. It worked. It's born. It's born. It's twins. Congratulations. Brother Tian is awesome. No more words, I'm going to give Brother Tian a gift. I'll give one too. Congratulations on the successful birth of 2 little lives. The audience was excited to see the 2 cubs were successfully delivered. The barrage was full of congratulations. At the same time, many people sent various gifts to the live broadcast room. For a while, the screen was full of white barrages and various colorful gift effects. After Lin Tian successfully helped the giant panda deliver a cub, he had time to look at the live broadcast room. He was also immediately shocked by the gift effects that filled the screen of the live broadcast room. Oh my god, when did so many people come? After clearing the barrage that filled the screen, Lin Tian realized that the number of people online in his live broadcast room had almost exceeded 10,000 without realizing it. Moreover, the barrage was also very active. Brother Tian, you finally watched the live broadcast room. It's popular. Your live broadcast room is popular. Brother Tian, look at me, I'm sending you rockets. The barrage of comments passed by. The gifts and rewards were endless. In just a few minutes, he had received thousands of gifts. Lin Tian, you are famous now. Wang Jian on the side also looked at the live broadcast room. Looking at the endless stream of gift special effects, envy appeared in his eyes. So many gifts, I'm afraid there must be a lot of money. However, with so much money, Lin Tian will not quit his job as a forest ranger and become an internet celebrity in the future, right? Wang Jian was worried. And Lin Tian was also surprised by the sudden explosion of the live broadcast room. He didn't expect that so many people would watch the live broadcast room he opened casually. And they rushed to send gifts one by one. Welcome everyone to my live broadcast room, and thank you for your gifts. If you like it, you can click to follow. After Lin Tian greeted the new audience in the live broadcast room, he hung the phone back on his chest. He did not forget his original intention. He started the live broadcast just to have a place to talk when he was bored. He would not focus all his energy on the live broadcast room just for the sake of more gifts and more fans. Lin Tian squatted down and looked at the giant panda. At this time, the giant panda mother was holding her 2 cubs and licking their afterbirth. The pink little tongue licked carefully. She took very careful care. At this time, Lin Tian had time to take a closer look at the giant panda cubs. Both cubs were very small. They had not yet grown the distinct black and white hair on their bodies. The exposed pink skin looked like 2 hairless little mice. I felt the same way after watching the live broadcast room. Is this a panda cub? If I didn't know, I would have thought it was a mouse. Yeah, it's pink and tender. It must be chewy if you take a bite. The above person, your idea is very damnable. Yes, it's very damnable. Yeah, it's definitely deadly. The audience in the live broadcast room were all happy watching the 2 cubs and making funny comments. But at this time, Lin Tian. But he noticed that one of the panda cubs was a little bit wrong. From birth to now. That cub. It seems that he has never called out. Chapter 10. Give me both cubs? Why doesn't this one cry? Lin Tian carefully examined the 2 giant panda cubs. In the first few months after birth, newborn giant panda cubs all express their needs through sound. For example, crying in fear. Or high-pitched, short sounds, to express needs and anxiety. The stronger one made a weak cry. And received a response from the giant panda mother. But the other one stuck in the birth canal seemed too weak. And couldn't make any sound from its mouth. It just lay weakly on the soft belly of the giant panda. This cub seems to have a problem. Lin Tian squatted down and looked. The giant panda mother also soon discovered that one of her children did not cry. She held the cub in both hands, stretched out her little tongue to lick the cub. And encouraged the cub to make a sound. But the cub did not respond at all. Instead, it became weaker and weaker. Although it tried to raise its head, it could not make many movements. Hey, what's wrong with this cub? It seems not as lively as the other one. Is it sick? Brother Tian, come and see it. The audience also noticed that something was wrong with the giant panda cub and was very worried. And the audience didn't need to tell them. Lin Tian would also find a way. If he didn't care, the cub would probably die. He thought for a while and took out the only remaining bottle of mineral water from the backpack. He dipped his finger in the spiritual water and put it into the cub's mouth. Pa! The little one suddenly smelled a sweet smell. He instinctively opened his mouth and sucked Lin Tian's finger. The sweet spiritual water immediately entered his stomach. With the effect of relieving fatigue and strengthening the body, the little one gradually became energetic. He sucked faster and faster, and soon drank up all the spiritual water in Lin Tian's hand. Lin Tian wanted to pull his finger out. But the little one held Lin Tian's finger and refused to let go. Lin Tian could only use a little force. Puff! There was a sound. Lin Tian pulled out his finger like a cork. At this time, the little one lost the smell of food and began to get anxious. It raised its head, opened its mouth slightly, and suddenly made a faint sound. This was a call for food. The giant panda mother next to it heard the child's call, and hurriedly raised her head to come over. She picked up the little one with her paws, put it on her belly, and let it drink breast milk. And this time, Lin Tian didn't stop it. The little guy drank the spiritual water and his body had recovered a lot of energy. It was a good thing that he could make a sound. He also picked up another cub lying on the grass and put it on the giant panda mother's belly, letting it suck in front of the mother's milk. Both little ones drank milk. This scene is so warm. It's like taking the cute giant panda sack home. Black and white dumplings. Ah, such a cute black and white dumpling. The audience in the live broadcast room were watching this scene warmly. Lin Tian was watching from the side, and he was slightly relieved. Now the mother and child were safe. Brother Wang, let's go. Seeing that the two cubs were fine, Lin Tian also planned to leave. He had to write a report about what happened today and send it to the bureau. They had already spent a lot of time here. Goodbye, Mother Bear. I'll bring you some wild bamboo when I have the chance. Lin Tian simply waved goodbye to the mother panda and prepared to leave with Wang Jian. But at this time, the mother panda saw Lin Tian leaving. She stood up immediately. She held one of the cubs in her mouth and trotted towards Lin Tian. When she came to Lin Tian, the giant panda stood up and put its two front paws on Lin Tian's waist. With its round head held high, it put the cub in its mouth into Lin Tian's arms. Ming Ming. Child, take care of it. Lin Tian looked at the giant panda holding the cub in front of him. He was stunned. Is this, asking me to help raise the child? The audience in the live broadcast room also saw this scene and were also confused. What's going on? The giant panda handed the cub to the anchor. Is it asking for the orphan? God damn, the giant panda is still alive and well. Haha, then this is not asking for the orphan, but also asking the anchor to help raise the child, right? It should be. Oh my god, does the mother bear really treat brother Tian as a breeder? Lin Tian was a little confused by the situation in front of him. Seeing that Lin Tian had not responded, the mother giant panda arched her round head and rubbed Lin Tian again. At the same time, she held the cub in her mouth and put it in Lin Tian's arms. Lin Tian took it submissively. The cub in his arms was very thin and weighed only a few ounces. He recognized that this cub was the one that he had just fed with spiritual water and was even thinner. At this time, the little one curled up in his palm, squinting his eyes, sleeping very comfortably. It seemed very close to the smell on his body. Stretched its little head to lick Lin Tian's thumb, then rested its head on the palm of his hand, and fell asleep comfortably with its legs spread out. Are you asking me to help you take care of it? Lin Tian asked while holding the cub. The mother panda cried out, scratching Lin Tian with its front paws and rubbing its round head against Lin Tian. What's going on? Why did the big dumpling give his child to brother Tian? Is there a dongdi? Where is the dongdi? If you don't come out, I'm going to spread rumors. Here I come. It's hard for wild giant pandas to take care of the health of two cubs at the same time. When taking care of one, you will definitely neglect the health of the other. I guess the mother panda is not able to raise two cubs together. That's why she gave one of them to brother Tian. After all, brother Tian helped the giant panda deliver the cub smoothly, and the mother panda must trust him very much. FK. So, the anchor has the opportunity to raise the national treasure giant panda. Wow, I'm so envious. I also want to raise a big round dumpling. The sack is ready. Where can I pick up a giant panda cub? When the giant panda brought the cub to Lin Tian, The audience was envious. After all, who doesn't want to raise a cute little dumpling? Lin Tian is no exception. Not to mention that the giant panda cub is so cute. He was not very reassured just by the thin appearance of the little one. Although he had drunk the spiritual water, the little one was still weak. Without human intervention, if he returned to nature, there was an 80% chance that he would die. So, after hesitating for a while, Lin Tian quickly agreed. Okay, I'll take care of the child for you. When it grows up, I'll bring it to find you. Ying ying. The mother panda was very happy to see Lin Tian agree. It excitedly shook its limbs and ran back to the grass. In Lin Tian's puzzled eyes, it also picked up another cub lying on the grass. Then it trotted back, pulled at Lin Tian's clothes, stood up, and brought the other cub to Lin Tian. Ying ying. Child, take care of Lin Tian.